My name is Daniel Robinson. I attend AC Flora, and I'm planning to major in geology at College of Charleston.
Good job.
Hello, everyone. Dave Robinson here. I'm the father of geologist Daniel Cornelius Robinson. Tonight, I wanted to do a live stream to talk about things to consider. It's something I have started some time ago, I think about 2 years ago, where I will discuss some of the things that we're not seeing in the report. After my son has been missing for 3 years now, it's time to start releasing some things that I haven't had in the public eye. So I'm releasing a lot of things when it comes to, like you've seen the last part of things to consider. I released some audio that I had of myself when I recorded myself speaking with law enforcement to back up my story when I say there wasn't any urgency in my son's case. The Buckeye Police Department, in my opinion, have not done a helicopter search that they claim with a Phoenix Firebird, and as well as the number of days it took them to finally do a search for my son, which was 2 weeks after he went missing. So, like I told you guys before, I come with receipts, and these are some of the things. But tonight, again, things to consider. We'll be doing this part here. This is the eyewitness account. Everybody know that Daniel. I'm going to start off at the beginning. Daniel, geologist, born here in Columbia, South Carolina, born and raised, and decided to get into geology in his freshman year of college. He fell in love with with geology, and he graduated with honors. He took his career out into Arizona. He lived in Phoenix, Arizona at first. Landed his first job with a company called Matrix New World. It's also called Matrix Southwest Groundwater. From there, he moved into a city called Tempe, the neighboring city. It's a college town. That's when he moving to that city. That's when he ended up going missing. But he's still working for the company. Many of you know that he, like I said, he's hired on as by that company as a field geologist, also called a hydrogeologist. What he does is go out into various areas of the desert, well sites, you name it, anything that had to do with groundwater. And being that Arizona is a desert state, they rely heavily on groundwater. They rely heavily also on the Colorado River. So it's very important for people like my son that will help Arizona determine if new projects, new communities can be built and things like that. But that's something that's required by law. These developments have to have, depends on the size, have to have these two well site locations. But his job is to, as a scientist in the company, to determine if those groundwaters can reduce 100 years of water, and then also be able to recharge itself. And as we know, hindsight now, that area that my son was working on do not have enough groundwater for the development they really trying their best to push forward. Buckeye is known to be the fastest growing city in the country, and so those things right there. My son went missing on June the 23rd of 2021. He's out. Like I said, he was assigned to, according to his job, 2 well sites. The first one, he went to one early that morning to do assessment of that site, but he took pictures of the logs. But the second well site, he was told to meet a person. His name is Ken. That was waiting on him at the second location. Ken works for a company called Weber Waterworks, and my son was to meet him out there in that desert. After my son, if I was going by the direction of his cell phone, he never did get those answers to how to get it to that location. But Ken's story is that my son met him out on this road called Sun Valley Parkway outside of the Sonoran Desert. My son met him out there. They spoke for a brief moment. My son followed him into that desert 1 mile west, 2 miles north to the well site. And they arrived at that well site around 9 o'clock that morning. And they spoke for about 10 to 15 minutes, according to Ken. My son decided in that conversation about the weather and some sort of effects of going back to Phoenix to rest. My son waved off to him, got into his vehicle, drove off to never be seen again. Almost 30 days later, that vehicle showed up in a ravine, a 20-foot ravine further out in the Sonoran Desert. It is a remote part of the desert, that Sonoran Desert, in the 20-foot ravine lying on its side. Um, um, According to law enforcement, the clothing that was found on the scene was said to be my son's. It was 3 feet away from the vehicle. I mean, everything from his underwear down to his socks, all in a big pile, sitting in a pile 3 feet away from that vehicle. All his personal effects was there in the vehicle, the clothing, his ID, and etc. But what I wanted to get to, the point of what I'm getting at tonight, is what I will be talking about again on the other side, is the things to consider when it comes to the eyewitness account. I have been fussing for over 3 years now to get law enforcement to do full forensics on the scene. They have not done that. They feel satisfied by doing a swabbing of the steering wheel, the shifter, and the door panel, as if that's full forensic work. As we know, every airbag in that vehicle deployed. If a vehicle airbag deployed, that's already tell you one thing. That airbag hits you in the face, it pulls DNA off. They want you to believe that the vehicle lying on the side, somehow my son escaped injury, because law enforcement assessment was originally is that the vehicle rolled and twisted, land on the side. The good part was that he had wearing the seatbelt, but at the same time said they felt that Daniel had a severe brain injury. And the reason why, they say he kicked his way out the sunroof, they asked that vehicle once he got out on the ground. Brain injuries make you hot, and he shredded his clothes. That's why it's closed. The explanation why it's closed is 3 feet away from the vehicle. And he walked butt naked into the desert, where he hid up under a tree somewhere to cool off, and a wild animal probably ate him. The second assessment they had was that maybe he just did all of this, he's masterminded this whole event, and because he decided he wanted to be away from his family and join the monastery and become a monk. Of course, that made me go and look other directions to get answers. I was already doing my investigation, but I also hired a private investigator who was accident reconstructionist. Now, mind you, when that vehicle showed up, of course, the person who found it, he's a rancher. He's a person that owned the lands out there next to BLM, the federal land. And he the one found that vehicle that day and reported to the Buckeye Police Department, which came out. And that's what you're going to hear this tonight. You're going to hear parts of that conversation. Of course, I did a lot of editing out of it. The editing part is the full details, because I'm still doing investigation in my son's case. Law enforcement won't do it. Of course, I'm doing it myself. I've been doing it for 3 years. That's where we know everything we know about my son's vehicle came from my independent investigation. The 11 additional miles, the 46 initial cycles, the red transfer paint. You said at the time of day around 1 o'clock that day. But I have receipts, and when I'm saying when I have receipts, I'm also going to we'll go share with you guys, not tonight, but my next things to consider. I want you guys to follow along. Look at things to consider on the YouTube channel. Please help find Daniel. See some of the prior. I'm going to start here with the eyewitness counter again. But I will in the future be backing those up with some. Also, I have eyewitness reports that law enforcement would not put in their report. They've been very selective. When I tell you guys, they've been very selective what they put in report. In my opinion, they've been falsifying the report. They've been. I have 5 different reports from the Buckeye Police Department, and each of them have something a little different. They even change paragraphs and things like that. So I will be showing you why you could take that full report from the Buckeye Police Department with a grain of salt, because it's not 100% accurate on anything, and and why it matters to me, why I feel like it's a cover up in my son's case, as well as the evidence of foul play is there. We have eyewitness accounts that I will share with you guys that Buckeye Police Department refused to share with the public and refused to put in a report to take those considerations. I will also explain to you again my assessment as my eyewitness report, what I've seen coming out of my son's apartment complex when I went to go see it for the first time. Also, the information, the Tempe Police Department, to do a favor for me and do the forensics on all of Daniel's electronics, where we found someone was tampering in his apartment after he went missing. So all those things that Buckeye Police Department refused to utilize as reasons to go further into my son's case to make it a criminal case that it is, again, goes towards my opinion is a cover up. So I'm gonna let you hear the rancher's account. The rancher is the guy who found my son's vehicle. That Buckeye Police Department, again, will not let you guys know about what the rancher said, because it goes against their persistence to make Daniel's vehicle there for 30 days in that Sonoran Desert, sitting there for 30 days from the time he went missing. Even though they did themselves, they claim they did a full search of that area. They did aerial search of that area, and they only, when people ask them why they didn't see the vehicle, they say, "Oh, it was too lush and too thick," and they probably missed it. You're not going to miss a blue vehicle in that desert. And also, you will see some pictures I will show you on the next things consider that they gave me, and they're going to go consistent with what the rancher said tonight. When you hear that, where they just did drone footage, all this helicopter stuff they did, you would not see helicopter footage. They don't have those because they didn't do it. You'll see that they have the drone footage that was told to me by the ranchers, but again, a lot of this stuff had been taken off because there's some things I still have to keep private for investigation purposes. So again, thanks so much for being here, and I would see you all on the other side. Thanks so much. When the lights and camera turn off, I will be here. When the interest and conversation fade, I will be here. When there's no one around, a father will do anything it takes to be there for his son, to protect his family. Without these special people behind me, I wouldn't have a search. Seatbelt locked, so you know, Hello, everyone. Dave Robinson here, the father of geologist Daniel Cornelius Robinson. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. Those who are on the Instagram side, I see you, and thank you so much for joining in. Those who are on the Facebook, the YouTube, as well as the Twitter and Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube and Facebook. Thank you so much for joining in. I want to start off right there, just telling a few of you, thank you so much for being here. We'll put you here on the screen. Just want to say, hey, thank you to T and Wildflower for being here and also moderating. And I really appreciate you showing up every time after all these years, definitely helping me with my platform when it comes to searching for my son. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for putting up the link there. Please help find Daniel.com. Everyone, if you're able to help, you find those information there on please help find Daniel.com is where you can look to help me in my efforts to find my son. So again, thank you so much, T and Wildflower, for putting that information out in the chats. Also, I have, let me see who else I have here. LV, thank you again for being here. Good evening to you and everyone. I really appreciate you being here. Also, thank you, Lady in Red, for being here this evening. Prayers always for Daniel, Mr. Robinson family, and friends. Let's find Daniel. Yes, we will find him. You know, faith is something you do with action, and that's what I've been doing for 3 years, and I'm going to continue to do so. Again, thank you again, Lady in Red. Also, let's see who else I have here. And also, yeah, I'm just gonna put this up again because there's something I forget. And thank you to Wildflower for always reminding me. But hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make a comment. Just throw a thumbs up or something that helps with the algorithms and definitely help me get Daniel's story out further. Also, help me to be able to help other families. That's my goal. And so this platform is very important. You guys have been helping me over the years by doing so. So hit a thumbs up right now in your comment section. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. That would definitely help. Also, let's see who else I have here. Aura, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you joining in on from the YouTube side. I really appreciate you. Also, let's see if I have anybody else in the chats. But thanks so much. Thanks for the thumbs up, the prayers. Thanks so much for that. Again, everybody that's on the Instagram side, thank you so much for being here. Okay, there we go. Now, what I want to get back to again, thank you, MEB. Thanks so much for being here too as well. Thank you. I saw you popped up just a while ago. What I want to do is go ahead and get into, like I said, for those who just joining in, I have been releasing some things a little bit under things to consider. My son, I'm still searching for him. I'm still fighting for him. I'm still pushing law enforcement to do the job, do what they should do. Not pat yourself on the back and think you did a great job by half doing the work. The same thing we would like to see done in my son's case is what they would do if it was one of their own. If it was a law enforcement officer that went missing in the same manner that my son went missing, I want the same due diligence and diligence that they would do in that case in those kind of scenarios. And thank you. I see you right there. I said, what's that? Live radiantly. Thank you, Susie. I have faith. We will find him. Yes, I definitely will have that. And that's from the youth, from the Instagram side. So thanks so much. But yeah, again, like I said, I'm not going to be satisfied with just half work. I know it's been 3 years, and many say, "Hey, man, it's been 3 years." Yes, it's been 3 years, and what would a father do? I just don't give up, and I'm definitely not leaving my son behind. I don't give up on my child, and especially when there's so much evidence out there for law enforcement to, and almost so many leads for law enforcement to follow, but they're picking and choosing what they want to follow, as long as this rides along with this 30-day thing that they really want to push in my son's case, and also look at everything and say they don't see any evidence of foul play. So again, we're going to keep pushing, and I need your help. That's why I'm asking you again to there for many of you. Okay, there we go. Please help find Daniel.com, and you can join in the mail-in protest. We'll be visiting the page in a second, but you can join in on the mail-in protest. You can join in. As a matter of fact, let's go there now for everyone, so that way you can follow me along with that. But yes, please help find Daniel.com. Go to the website. You can sign the petition. That's one thing that's very important to my efforts to find Daniel. Is to sign that petition, 132,409. And when I say sign the petition, I want to take that back. put your voice to the petition. You know, there's your voice saying that you support everything I have been doing, supporting my efforts to find my son. That is it right there. And to have your voice added to this petition. Also, you can go to Please Help Find Day again and request flyers. You know, get flyers out into, and this is free charge of you. It's free to you. You can just request these flyers, get them into your community, so we can keep Daniel's name out there, keep them out there, so people can continue to look for and reach those persons that may know something. Somebody could have been gone for 3 years out away from Arizona, living somewhere else, and then I don't know where they're at. But if you guys get that flyer and get it out there, it might reach that person that say, hey, you know what, I remember that day, June the 23rd of 2021, and you know, and can help us bring answers to what happened to my son. So of course, definitely fill out this information, and we get those flyers out. Like I said, it's free to you. If you want to help by printing the flyers out yourself, you can use that tab there to print the flyers out yourself. That helps with resources. It definitely helps with the resources. I don't know why it takes so long to load up, but that definitely, let me see if I can refresh this, but it helps with the resources, and you can print out the flyers here, the front and back. And I know when I say that's a form of donation, because you're utilizing your own ink and your paper, and I get that, and I thank you so much for those who decide to do that. But if you can't, again, this is free to you if you request those flyers. So again, on the front page, you also can go down on the front page here, and the mail-in protest is another thing that is very important in Daniel's case. And the mail-in protest is something I designed to keep Daniel's case from becoming a cold case. And it's impossible to call Daniel's a cold case when there's so much, like I said before, that is so much out there for law enforcement to work on. And you see behind me right here, it says Dave Ross for Congress. That's one of the reasons why I'm running for, one of the major reasons why I decided to run for office, is to make sure I'm fighting for all Americans that's gone missing, but also fighting for those information that's there, that's available in my son's case. And so again, you got guys, you can see that with this PDFs you have right here, is 5 of those up here. And each one of them have a message for law enforcement. Hey, look, this interest of my son's case is still there. You guys, by mailing these I call them picket signs, you mail them in the mail to these law enforcement agencies, and that is you supporting everything I have been doing and continue to support. So what I'm saying is, these signs are, and I'm going to pull a couple of them so you can see what I'm saying here. This is what you'll be mailing off to them. It's 5, you know, and I'll give you the address shortly. You're going to mail these off every week, every time you can. You can try to encourage others to do it. My goal is to have thousands of these going into the police department every day, every week, whatever it takes to let them know, hey, the public do not lose interest in my son's case. The public is still looking for these answers. And this one is one of my biggest ones. If Daniel was a cop, if he's one of the Buckeye Police Department, what would justice do? We demand the same treatment in Daniel's case. If Daniel was one of your own, we demand a criminal investigation into the disappearance of geologist Daniel Cornelius Robinson. What do we want? We want justice. And when do we want it? We want it now. And this is important, and it's important for me and my family, because I still say it this way, you guys. If this was law enforcement, nobody can tell me any different. If it was law enforcement, a vehicle was found out in the ravine, it could have been, and I promise you, it wouldn't have been 30 days. It wouldn't have been 3 years. It wouldn't have been length of time to even do it. It would have been the same as that day. Also went into the Sonoran Desert, also Sun Valley Parkway. And I'm going to say the story just like my son's story, but say it in a way of law enforcement. Went out there to search the desert for whatever reason, to that well site. And that guy said, I saw the officer here. He waved off to me. He drove off. Nobody got they lost radio contact with his officer. Didn't know what happened to him. And then that same day, they find his vehicle farther out in that Sonoran Desert, lying on the side, as you see in my son's case, is lying on the side. Everything off his uniform, everything off his body is in a pile. His whole uniform, underwear down to his socks in the pile, and he's nowhere to be seen. You would never hear law enforcement say, "I do not see foul play in this situation." Don't do any forensics on that scene whatsoever. They would not have just told the family, "Hey, this is his things back and mark it for safekeeping," when everything was found on that scene. So nobody can argue that fact that law enforcement if it was at the time Chief Hall, who was the chief at the time, if it was his son, if it was one of his own officers, I think every officer around the country, every agency around the country would have been sending officers and everybody to that Sonoran Desert to go out there looking for that one officer. I need the same treatment for my son. I need the same treatment for every American that goes missing. Nobody's better than the other, and so we want to make sure that everybody getting equal, protections under law and equal treatment under the law as well when it comes to finding missing Americans and things. So my son is included. So again, that's the thing that I've been fighting for 3 years now. That's the arguments I've been having out there in public when I'm saying some people take you, hey, are you anti-police? No, I'm pro-police, but I'm anti low work. I'm anti half. I want to say it the way I really would like to say it, but half doing the job. I'm anti all that kind of stuff, and disparities and things like that. So I have to stand up and say something, especially when it's my son, and that's what I'm doing. So again, to go back to the website again, if you guys go there and print out these PDFs, it's 5 of those. These are the PDFs right here. These are the links that you will have to print those. But you please mail these PDFs to the Buckeye Police Department. Again, I would say this real quick too. I came up to mail in protest because I was doing a physical protest during the time in the Sheriff's zone because I was getting them to do the things they said they was going to do. And he stopped me from doing the protest because he gave me 2 promises and he only fulfilled one, and also search. The other things, he did not get my son's case moved over to the Maricopa County Sheriff Office, as me and my family been asking for years now, to get this work properly done, to fully do the forensics fully on that vehicle, to process those clothing found on the scene, because our family don't even identify those clothing. We say it's not Daniel's clothing. It was staged there as well along with the vehicles. And we already know the information that came from everything we know about this case came from my own investigation and my also from my private investigator that I hired. Nothing came from law enforcement. So I don't want nobody to get fooled and feel that Buckeye Police Department contributed in some way in those answers. They did not find the 11 additional miles. They did not find the 46 initial cycles. They did not find the red transfer. They couldn't even find their own face in front of their hands in front of their face in that desert. No red construction cone, yellow construction cone. They didn't find anything. We found a human skull out there not too far away from that vehicle, a few thousand feet. We also found other human remains out there, bring clothes for other families. I solved the case for the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office of a stolen car out in the desert, while law enforcement came empty-handed on everything they have done. And they say they did this work. So again, what I'm saying is we have been putting the work in. We're doing this stuff here. And we got to continue to fight for my son. And I'm asking you guys to help me do so by doing this mail-in protest. And like I say again, I got to put it together because I was intending to do a physical protest, but then people say, "Hey, Mr. Roberts, I live in Little Whistler, Georgia. I live in some place, far away from Arizona. I can't get there. I would love to be a part." And I came up to mail-in protest for that reason, to give everybody the opportunity to be a part of this protest. It's an ongoing protest to make sure that law enforcement don't forget and don't let them think that this case is a cold case and they can just throw it under the rug and hide it and nobody cares anymore. Because like I said in Twitter, when the interest and the cameras go away, I'm still going to be here. And I'm not going away. I'm a father, and that's what I'm doing. And so again, just want to make sure everybody's supporting, because that way they can't have shade. And I believe that happened to a lot of missing American cases. Law enforcement get shade and they can throw that case in a file back in the dark, cold, dusty closet somewhere and say, it's a cold case status and we're not doing anything about it. They move on with life. And it's not going to happen in my son's case. So again, and in my when I get to Congress, it ain't gonna happen in nobody's case. So the thing is, what I'm saying is, I need your support on that. Please help finddaniel.com. You go to the front page again, mail in protest. Mail those protest picket signs into the Buckeye Police Department and address it to Chief Robert Sanders. The address is right there, 21699 West Yuma Road in Buckeye, Arizona. And also to Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. He's up for re-election. For those in Arizona, just already remember, Sheriff Skinner is up for re-election this year. So you guys got going down on November the 5th for that ballot box. Consider some of these things and really look into the things they did. I'll say it like this, and I'm not going to try to tip nothing, but what I'm saying is, in my family's view and what has been happening since he took over from Sheriff Zone, this man have yet to reach out and speak to me. He ignored my request to speak to him. He sent me generic letters and things like that. That is so not becoming of a sheriff, saying that he's a public official. Not only that, he's an elected official. And so he owe the family. He owed them, no matter what he feel about me, no matter how he feel, it's his job to make sure he speaks to me directly when I request that. And he did not do that. So, and to this date. So again, that's not the character of a sheriff, in my opinion, to be representing people of all races, all places, and all kind of things. So you guys need to consider that when you go into that ballot box. Now, again, Maricopa County Sheriff Office Sheriff Skinner, that's his address, 550 West Jackson Street. That's in Phoenix, Arizona, 85003. We need thousands of those letters sent out weekly to avoid Daniel's case becoming cold. So again, I will need your support on that. Now, again, I told you guys, the ones that's actually joining in here that may join late, I am releasing is Please Help Find Daniel, things to consider. It's the Eyewitness account. It's a rancher. I had to, pull a lot of things out of there, but I want you guys to hear from him, hear from the person who actually found the vehicle, the person who actually told me that, look, his cattle would have been digging in that vehicle. The vehicle wasn't there 2 days prior. You don't hear this in that part of a separate conversation about the two days prior, but you would hear him say that he was in that area looking for many days. He's out there every day, and the vehicle wasn't there. So again, you guys will hear those things, and those things are very contradictory to the police report. They don't reflect in the police report because, like I said again, they do not match the 30-day. They really Buckeye been saying that vehicle been out there for 30 days before they did anything. There was no forensic work on the scene. There was nothing. They based all of that on a hard hat. They say filled with rainwater. We already know we did experiment on that. The hard hat, they claim, and the funny part, the hard hat was sitting in the back seat. There was no open windows in the back seat. Only one window's busted out, and the sunroof was open, but the vehicle on the side and the driver's door is the only window that was broken out. But the hard hat was sitting near the back. Rainwater wouldn't have been able to get there, but they claiming that's where it was in the rainwater fill up this hat. And also there was a business card sitting in the hat. And you guys already know I did the test, and I will show you guys again the results. So then I did many cards, and every card disintegrated. When I say disintegrated, depends on what type of card it is, business card. Some of them stay intact for the first layer, but that bottom layer always peels off on all of them. So this card was intact as if it was just put in that water and that picture was taken. So again, that really undermines their thoughts of trying to make it 30 days. They were saying that a long time ago before they came up with this Mal IQ thing that I gave to them as well. So again, you guys, I will be letting you hear that. Also, again, I'll be coming back hopefully next week or the week after, whenever I get some time, because running for office November 5th is coming really quick, and I have less time, and I'm working really hard to try to win my election. But I want to share these things with you as soon as possible. So I'm going to be sharing tonight the rancher's account. I will be sharing some of the eyewitness when I say the leads that I have of those who've seen. I've seen, like I said, you look in the report, you'll think that Buckeye the one that went out to Sedona. You'll think they're the one that went out to Flagstaff. No, we did. I was listening to the detective telling me my own story one time on the phone. I just let him do it, but he was sitting there telling my own story, how he went to Flagstaff to follow up a lead. And that's the same. And he told me exactly the way I told him, telling me my own story as if he did the job. So again, what I'm saying is, I would let you guys hear it from the people who actually talked to me, and before we gave the information to law enforcement. And they do have this stuff, but they choose, like I said, they pick and choose what they want to put in their report. They pick and choose what they want to follow, because if those things will lead to something, you'll never hear about it. But you hear about these wild things they have in their report, sensationalizing things. A case about a young woman and saying he was in love with a woman he didn't know. Unnecessary things about what my investigator said about me behind my back, or those kind of things. Saying to throw everybody off from the facts of the case was really happened on the ground, and that's why I really feel it's a cover up. So again, here we go right here. I'm going to play this, and then I'm going to sit back and we can listen. But it's going to be 8 minutes long. Trust me, we've been talking for hours, but I'll just give you everything that you need from those details. So hold on here.
Well, let me just start from the beginning, and I'll send you all these pictures I got. When we found the Jeep, I called Buckeye, and They said, what's the license plate number? And I give them the license plate number. And they said, yeah, that's the one we're looking for. I said, yeah, I know. I've seen it on the news, you know?
Right.
So and they said, okay, let us call you right back. Okay? So they called me right back a couple minutes later, talked to the detective, and the detective says, yeah, that's the one we're looking for. I said, okay. I said, well, I'm here. I said, there's no way for you to find me. Like, I can't give you directions in here. I said, but I'll send my guy up to the parkway, and I'll meet you on the parkway, and you can bring him. He can bring you down.
Right.
He said, okay. He says, I need you to do something for me if you could. He says, can you not alert the media or his family or anyone that you found the Jeep?
Oh, wow.
And I said, at first I said, okay. I hung the phone up and I called her and I said, you know what, fuck that.
Right.
I said, if that was, I hung the phone up and I called her and I said, you know what, fuck that.
Right.
I said, if that, somebody found that fucking Jeep, I'd want them to call me. And I apologize.
Say this real quick. They called me the next day, that next morning,
Yeah, that's
and I was really uptight about it. He said, oh, we didn't want to disturb your sleep.
Took like 2.5 hours for them to get there. Buckeye cops. Right? Takes them 2.5 hours to get there. Well, by this time, I've already had my guys scour that desert like we're looking for a needle in a haystack, right? We're going all over the desert. We're looking, you know, I mean.
I really appreciate that, because I really appreciate it.
And we did. I mean, it's just what we would do for anyone.
Right.
You know, I would think you'd do it for me, you know? So we're scouring everywhere. We're looking. And I mean, that's what we do every day is we track cattle. So we're halfway decent probably at tracking, you know? So we're looking. I can't find it. So then I start looking around the Jeep. And I don't see anything in there that's like abnormal to me besides it's wrecked, you know?
Right.
And I thought it was really, really clean. Like, you know, I'll show you the pictures, but I thought it was really, really clean. As far as Buckeye having ATVs out there, they're full of fucking shit. I mean, they're full of crap. They had one Razor out there, and the battery was dead. And then when I came back, they had a flat tire, and I had to change the flat tire for them. So Sarah, I said, that's on our ranch. Like, I guarantee you that Jeep's on our ranch. Like, it's right there. And she's like, well, they probably checked it, you know. And I was like, well, when we're out there, I'll let you know, you know.
Right.
And yeah, lo and behold, we found it. But
I was gonna say, this is the only thing they gave. I ended up putting on
that one.
just one picture out of everything. They didn't give me nothing. I said, okay, where all these other pictures you guys are taking? They didn't do any forensic stuff at the scene. I had to go to chief of police and I had to argue with them why they. I said, how you know my son's driving this vehicle? How you know he was the only person here? I mean, he's obviously it's his vehicle. I'm like, but who knows who was in the vehicle with him or if he was driving it at all? And they won't do that. Well, we ain't see no blood in the vehicle and we don't see no foul. They quick said to me there was no foul play, first of all, which I'm hoping it's not. But I'm saying, oh, bottom line, how you really know? You know what I'm saying? No forensics, no nothing. Then when I argue about them 3 days after, because they tried to release the vehicle to me. And because they told, like I said, they told me a day after, I guess you guys found it. They already had it at the police compound, I guess. And
they pulled it out of there that night.
Right. The whole point they didn't do any forensics. Talked to the chief of police, argued with them about it. 2 or 3 days after that, they decided to do the fingerprint and stuff there. Still getting no answer from that. Still getting no more pictures. So when you provide a picture for me, it really helps me out a whole lot.
They didn't do any forensics when they were there.
Nothing.
So when I was still there, they brought the lady out that did all the pictures. You know, and the other thing from like my personal standpoint, it doesn't not specifically to this Jeep, but I've lived and worked in this desert my whole life. Like we're 4th generation farmers here, right? That's what we've always done. We've always been here. I've seen lots of things wrecked in the desert. I've seen this, you know, you find cars or Jeeps or whatever, you know, wrecked all the time. People wreck them or they get them stuck, whatever. Something like this doesn't sit in the desert for a month and be that clean. It was spotless. It was clean. I mean, it had been raining. The other part of it,
the days you witness and that's
right.
the also stuff.
The other part is too, is the reason I was even up there is because I was after cows. Right, so I got cattle up there. If that thing had been there for a month, I promise you, cows would have been licking on it. Cows would have been nosy. Cows would have been getting after those bottles of water that were in the back. Because there was a case of bottled water in the back.
Or floating on the ground.
Yeah, there'd have been that. I mean, there'd have been cow shit around it.
Yeah.
I mean, they would have just been screwing with it. You know, the vehicle is salty. Like if you look at a vehicle that's worked in a dairy for years, it's completely shiny because they lick it.
Really?
They lick the paint off. It's salty. So they would have been screwing with this had it not been there only a little bit. So when they tell me that, oh, we searched this area, we searched it, we didn't see it. Well, no, you probably didn't because it wasn't there.
That's what I'm wondering.
I'll bet you, whatever you want to bet, that thing was not there.
So how often are you in that area specifically?
Every day.
So
if not every week.
So since June 23rd till, what was it, July 19th, would you have, you would have been by that specific spot at least once?
At least once.
At least once.
At least once.
And you would have seen that.
I would have seen it.
Okay.
Where we found this Jeep was over here on the boundary. Right?
Okay.
So when we push cattle, we push them from the south to the north. We get everything on the north fence, and we bring them around back to the corral. Because you can't push them this way because they'll scatter. So we go by this area when we're moving cattle, and that ranch is low on feed, so we've been pulling cattle in there. When you bring cattle around this way, they scatter and they go up in those hills. So you got to go in those hills to get them out.
Sure. Right.
We would have seen it there.
Okay.
We could, and that's how I seen it this time.
You couldn't have missed it.
Yeah, that's how I seen it this
Yeah.
time, as I was up in there getting cows out.
Got it. Got it.
And again,
That makes sense.
if it was there, they'd have been licking on it, putting their
Yeah.
horn in the window, just screwing with it. I mean, that's just what they do.
Yeah. Okay.
So then that night after I found it, they set up a little deal at our corrals there because that's just the easiest place to get into. And I showed them the easy way to get back, and they said, okay, we need to get dogs out here, search dogs. Okay, so they're calling, and I'm just standing there waiting on them. So naturally, I'm listening. And every dog in the state, except for one, was at Prescott training.
Oh, you're kidding.
So this might be valuable information.
Yeah, it is.
Every dog was in Prescott training except for one.
Okay.
I don't know. I just got an uneasy feeling ever since I found it. It's been bothering me to come talk to you because it just something ain't right, man. The Jeep's too clean.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were to take I'm no investigator, but you take an impact like that, there's been blood, bloody nose maybe, scratch your arm, and then what is this about? The driver's side window is punched in, the other one's punched out, and then the cover from that one is stuck under the right fender with the boot in there.
Yeah.
I really
I'm going to
appreciate
talk to you
you,
again.
sir. Man, I appreciate you too. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, thank you everybody for listening to that. That is a little piece of many things that was said into this conversation. It's a great deal that law enforcement could have took advantage of, and that I gave them the stuff, and also gave them an opportunity to talk to the rancher themselves, but they refused to. But they would take into account for other things, anything like I said again that would match their desire to, in my opinion, have it there for 30 days. But what I'm saying is the rancher, he's the one that found it. He's also the one who has some insights, and there's a lot more that I would love to be able to share with you guys, and maybe in the future, some real details of what happened that night. That's why I argue the point of the efforts that they claim when Detective Biff and B tried to belittle me as a father and say, hey, we have looked for your son so diligently. We had low flying helicopters. They were flying so low you could hold your hands up in the air and touch the bottom of the helicopter. That's how close they were looking and hanging out the window. Some super extra hero thing he's telling me, and think things like that is funny. It's something you can just tell a family who's grieving and going through some things, and again, the evidence of that is only one dog. When they say dogs, they like to use the word plural. From an eyewitness that was out there and said, hey, look, they literally was trying to find a dog, and then all the dogs was in training except one. And also that, if they had these cadaver dogs that they claimed they had, they did not find the human skull. That was only a few thousand feet away. So it's impossible to say they had dogs that was just, that's all they do is find human remains, didn't find the human remain, if you get what I'm saying. But we did. People who are not, we're not law enforcement, with everyday people like yourself. But as Americans got together and unified together to look for scientists, and we found human remains, bringing closure for other families. So that's something that law enforcement, again, All the times they was out in the desert, didn't find a construction cone out there, didn't find their own face out there. I mean, anything. You didn't find anything. So what I'm saying is, we definitely, because if you really look for something, you'll find something. And we have people out there working very hard, 118 degrees, 115 degrees out there in that Sonoran Desert. We're out there sometimes every day. But doing 49 weeks of desert searches, covered over 35,000 acres of land without law enforcement's help. And and to be able to do that kind of work. So again, I want to say tonight, I just wanted to share that little piece with you. I'm still working on that, some little bit more information when it comes to that. Again, I will be sharing as well some more audio that I have with, like, for instance, Detective Biff, when I was speaking to him, and he told me the reason why they didn't want to do. He didn't see no foul play, and they weren't going to do any forensics on that scene. So when I told law enforcement years ago now that I have receipts of everything, I actually have receipts. And the reason why God blessed me to be able to get these audio recordings, I don't know why, but I thank God for them, because they come in handy now. My mind wasn't planning anything, but like I said, these things came in handy. That's just the way my phone worked for years now. So, and long before my son went missing. So the thing is, what I'm saying, when law enforcement tells you guys things, and I'm arguing the opposite, I have receipts. That's what I'm saying. And so I'm saying law enforcement need to be careful for, what in my opinion, falsifying police reports, because they're going to come back to bite them. So again, just want to say thank you guys everybody for joining in. You see the information right here on the bottom of the screen. If you have a tip, it's been 3 years for those who listen and you know something. If you have a tip, it's been 3 years. My family, we're still grieving. We're still needing those answers. You want to help bring my son home. You want to clear your conscience. The anonymous tip line is there. I pay for that that line. That tip line is 24 hours, 7 days a week. The number is right there. Live operators can take a call. You can remain anonymous. If you don't want to talk to anyone, you can just text the word tip to that number with your cell phone. The form will come up, and you still can remain anonymous if you like. But we definitely need those answers to what happened to my son. You have those answers. Thank God for everything that we have so far, but need to go a little further. And the reason why, you guys, I have a lot of friends that need to be done on that vehicle. I have a lot of friends that need to be done on the clothing. I'm housing. Think about this, you guys, paying money, housing forensics that law enforcement should have had processed years ago. They have yet to process this so-called, quote, swabbing of the steel wheel shifter and door handle. We don't have any answers as a family yet to any of that. I don't even believe they even did it, because if they did, why it's not being processed? They had the bogus idea 2 years ago to hit me up and say, "Mr. Robinson, do you have what he shaved with?" Like, if we're gonna walk around with Dane's razor in our pocket or something. We had to dismantle his apartment years ago. We can't pay rent for something for months. And so, to make a long story, it's the unfair treatment in my son's case that causing me to keep pushing. I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure that law enforcement doing the right thing when it comes to my son's case, and also other Americans. Also, again, my run for Congress, you guys, is not just for that. It's also to help law enforcement, help free up some of those data, help free up some things that will make it easier for us to get information that's going to help us in real time. It's not like looking for a person who's deceased, like we see in the 48 hours, someone committed a crime, and they say, "Oh, the first 48 hours, the detectives need to get information really quickly, to help them solve a case." When it's a live, active situations, we have the Amber Alert, we have the Silver Alert. And also, I'm pushing for the because a friend of mine in Louisiana brought it to my attention what Texas have and a few other states. But it's like the Shanti alert, but it's also called the Clear Alert, and that's the thing that I will be pushing for. But just all the elements that's there in 2024, we have all the things there that can help us, aid us into finding out what happened to the 600,000 Americans that go missing every year, the 3,000 a day, almost 2,000 of which are children. And with technology we have right now, there's no excuse for a reason why we can't do better. So that's what I'm part of my run, is to make sure that I'm doing everything I can. Some things that I did come up with that I would like to see happen in Congress to alleviate some of those problems. So again, thank you to everybody who being here. I see does anybody probably have comments and some questions, but I'm gonna go back to this comment section and see if I see anybody else. Thank you, Maltese, for being here. Good on you for sharing the audio. Lucky you kept it too. Yes, definitely. And you know, I have plenty more. Like I said, I have receipts. And when I say this, when law enforcement say, "Oh, we did this," then you got them on saying the opposite. When they said, "Oh, we did a search," I put on the report telling you guys they searched for Dan that night. I have them Officer Cruz saying, "No, him and another officer. This only two of them riding up down Sun Valley Parkway. They did not go in that desert looking for my son that night." 2 days later, they claimed they had the helicopter search, but I have the Officer Birch who says he don't even see any evidence of that. He was saying it on the audio. You guys will hear that again. Saying that he'll look on the computer. There's no notes about it. There's nothing there because it did. Because I called earlier that day and they told me it was canceled because Daniel's a grown man. He could disappear if he want to. When I talked to Officer Birch, I was just worn out, tired. I was on the road trying to get there to Arizona and at a hotel. And he'd tell you that you hear what he had to say. They went so far as much as the sloppy work of the Buckeye Police Department. Even at that time, he didn't even know my name. He had to put my name inside the computer, which I don't want to put the report in. He had to go back and re-put stuff in. He had to put my address back in. Of course, I blotted it out for you guys, but my address back in. He had to even ask him about Daniel's vehicle. Didn't have such information, but yet at the same time say his information was in the database where if he get pulled over by or get in a view of a camera with law enforcement, and no matter where he's at in the country, it'll flag on that officer's thing that his family looking for him. That's the furthest that Buckeye went to look for Daniel until my auntie pushed the issue from out there in Pennsylvania. She pushed the issue, and then they say they put this Firebird, Phoenix Firebird helicopter in the air. And I can't tell you guys to date, and it is 2024, ever since 2022, I have put in a FOIA request. I went to the Phoenix Firebird, which is Fire and Rescue, and put his FOIA request in, and it still to date cannot find any records or any evidence that ever happened. When they realized that it was about Daniel's case, they keep saying, "Oh, we're still looking for it." So you're looking for it for almost over 3 years now. So because it never happened. So again, those are kind of things that I had to deal with as a family. It just the problem, I believe, was when the Buckeye Police Department realized that I wasn't going anywhere. When they told me, they gave me everything the day after my son Vic was found. They literally threatened me, say, "Hey, you need to get out of here. You got to pay storage fees." When they thought I was probably going to grab his things, send that vehicle to the junkyard and be destroyed, and just went back to South Carolina, and all that would have been over with for them, and I didn't. I fought for 3 months straight to get my son's story out on the national stage. I fought really hard to get the local stuff going. I fought really hard before that vehicle showed up to start my own searches. I've been doing my own investigation. The first thing I did when I got to Arizona is to interview Ken, the last person who's seen my son. And I have notes that I've written down. You guys can see them, the pictures. And then Buckeye refusing to utilize those because it don't match their narratives. I'm saying even stuff from me, you guys, but they'll put what they want to. Or some coworker said that my son was depressed or something and try to make him out a person that he's not. My son is a brilliant scientist. He's an American scientist. He's a geologist. You don't find too many black geologists out there. So, if you look at what my son is, he's a very brilliant man. He's definitely a person who has dreams, aspirations, but also he's an entrepreneur. He has entrepreneurial spirit, and so he's loved by his family. He's one of those people that keep us together. He always come in between conflicts, and you name it. That's Daniel. You have a lot of friends. He's just that kind of person. If you met him, trust me, he would be really easy to like him. So that's the way he is. But again, I can go on and on again, go on all night. You guys know how I am when I get to run in my mouth and just keep going on and on. But I just want to say thank you again from the bottom of my heart for those who join in and watch and listen to everything I had here coming up tonight. So I really appreciate you guys for being a part, and I don't take any of this for granted. For those who've been supporting and helping for over these years, in my son's case, those things are, my family, we really appreciate it. I'd say that we just really appreciate each and every last one of you. Again, like I said, I do not take those for granted. And I'll always remember it for the rest of my life. You just remember how, I talk to people even on my campaign trail, how, when we're out there in that desert, I call them my extended family. Everybody who knows that was out there in the desert, or whether he was out in the city doing the city search with me, or the flyer distribution out in the city areas, Phoenix and everything, even going to the events that I was able to put together with my team. And we all are family. That's my sentiment. We're extended. You have to be family. We all have to be my family. You come out there, nobody care about your political ideologies, nobody care about your religion, nobody care where you're from, this, that. We always out there together, unified, and we're a family. And like I said, my extended family, and I really appreciate you have to be, because you coming out looking for a stranger, somebody you don't know. You didn't know me, you didn't know my son, but you're out there in 118 degrees weather. Not only how to get in, just in Phoenix itself, going out in the city, putting flyers in on these cars, all these malls, and walking the streets, and and coming to these events and things like that. So and helping other families. And so the thing is, you have to be family to do that. So again, thank you again. I really appreciate it. Let's see if I have any more before I jump off. Anybody? Okay, I just wanted to make sure I didn't have anybody else I can bring on some of your comments. And let's see here. Okay, that's it. All right. Well, again, I will be doing, like I said, lastly, I will be doing this again. I will be bringing in some tips that law enforcement does not follow up on. Some things you will hear. You will hear one tip that law enforcement refusing to follow up on, and that one will verify something that my investigator found that would contradict what Buckeye had to say about this vehicle. Again, that'll be my next thing to let you guys listen to. Is a couple, it's an older couple that really had an eyewitness, and I really take that to heart, because the timeline that they have matches what my investigator found. The first initial accident happened at around 1 o'clock. There was 11 additional miles on that. You will hear also some investigator guys that's working there, and some different group from out of California came area in that desert. They believe that vehicle, it matches that 11-mile difference, right? So you'll hear some of that too as well. That's things that law enforcement have, and you guys didn't see that in the report because, like, again, it don't match what that narrative they want to keep. And so, in my opinion, so also you hear the volunteers when we found the human skull. And I'll be sharing some of those things like that. Again, Sedona, also the black box data from Chief Hall, who to give you some more information. When I told you guys, when they released that vehicle to me on day one after the vehicle found, you hear Chief Hall himself, telling me about, we come up there, my investigator too, because I had them to hold that vehicle a few days after, the meeting I had. And after that meeting, I called them up and said, hey, we need to get this black box data. And so I sent my investigator up there to get that while they supposedly be doing this forensics swabbing of the steering wheels and the shifter, which is not enough. And the whole vehicle need to process again. The airbags need to process. Who's been sitting on the passenger side? All the airbags deployed. Who's been sitting on the passenger side? Who's been sitting in the back with side curtains? Who have been sitting in the driver's seat? We need them to have these answers to who else was in the vehicle and things like that. So, the passenger side front airbags when they're deployed, and the side bags if nobody was sitting in that chair. We need those answers. So again, I will be keep pushing until we get those answers, and I need your support. Please go to pleasehelpfinddan.com. Don't forget to ask for your flyers and get them free. Or if you want to help out with resources and you want to print them out, thank you so much for the donation. And also don't forget about the mail-in protest. That is a form of donation as well, because you're actually downloading and printing those out to send them in envelopes to the department. So again, need your support. You guys that have seen me online that much when it comes to my son's case, because of what I'm doing right here. Right behind me, David Robinson for Congress, Congressional District 2, against a 23-year incumbent in my state. So I'm working very hard to get my name out there, very, very hard to, to make sure I win. I have to win not just winning for South Carolina, but also winning for all the 600,000 Americans that go missing every year. So I need your support on that too as well. So if you want to support that, definitely visit the campaign website, davidrobinsonforcongress.com, davidrobinsonforcongress.com. That helps out as well. So again, thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. Love each and every last one of you. I'll see you on the next round. Again, just look for things to consider, and I will be sharing those other things with you. Again, like I said, it'll be coming here and there once I get those times and avenues to be able to do it. So again, take care of yourself, and let's see, make sure that I'm finished everything. Yes. And I will see you on the next go around. Take care of yourself. God bless you. Oh yeah, and have a good weekend. Spend time with your family. And I always say this every time: whatever you do, even if you're mad at your loved one and you know you love them, I always say you love them. Let's tell them you love them, even when you're angry. If you have to say, "Hey, look, I love you, but we just can't talk right now," because don't wait till there's a time. Now, God forbid if it happened to you, but it happened to our family. You get a situation where you tell him. I told my son Daniel, the last time I was able to tell Daniel I love him was 2 days before he went missing. I love you, son. Love you, Dad. That's the last time I ever spoke to him back to back. I'd give anything to say that to him right now. And you don't want the time to come where you never be able to say it, and then you wish you could have that one time. So again, whatever it is, it's good that let the sun go down in wrath. If you can resolve that, that's even better. But if you can at the moment, just at least say, "Hey, look, I love you. We just can't talk right now. I need my space," whatever the case may be, because you'll hug your own self for being able to do that. So take care of yourself, be blessed, and talk to you later.
At the break of dawn, in the middle of the Arizona desert, a crowd of strangers meet for one purpose.
You guys coming out here to help me out, I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart.
To help another stranger, a father desperately searching for his 24-year-old son, Daniel Robinson.
Since he was a child, he liked to challenge everything.
He was born with a challenge.
And I wanted to introduce him to prosthetics because he's born one hand. We quickly learned that that's something that Daniel don't want. He let nothing stop him. He decided to be a geologist once he got into freshman year in college. He excelled that, he graduated with honors.
Daniel's first job is checking the viability of water wells in the Arizona desert.
He loved this area, of course, because of the rock formation. You're a geologist, this is the best place to be.
But the terrain became a hellscape for his dad when Daniel went missing back in June from his job site.
And what number search is this?
This is search number 14.
Navigating the dangers in the desert, the Army veteran knows firsthand time is of the essence.
When I called the Buckeye Police Department, they told me that I had to wait an extra 3 hours because they had a 12-hour, report time when you can say a person is missing. Then I called them back and put in a missing person report. I got very worried. That's when I got very worried. I asked the Buckeye Police Department to go out and
search that area. The officer told me that they were going to send a vehicle out there, a helicopter out to search for him. I was relieved, and then he called back an hour later, said no, it was a no-go. I'm his dad, and he's my son. I've lost all sense of reality. At that moment, I said, you know what, they're not going to look for my son. I'm going to have to do it myself.
Before he arrived, police did decide to search on foot and with helicopters.
This is the last place your son was seen?
The last place.
What do you think happened, David?
I think a lot happened here. I'm very suspicious.
But he doesn't know what. A month in, there's a break in the case, and police call Robinson.
I got afraid, actually, that it's going to be some bad news. He said, no, we just found his vehicle.
Some ranchers found it, and then at that point, we conducted our investigation and additional searches.
What was the condition of the car? If it had rolled over, it sounds like it was pretty bad.
Yeah, the car was on its side. The sunroof was kicked out at that point, so he might have exited through the sunroof.
His wrecked car in a ravine, both airbags deployed, Daniel's cell phone, clothes he was wearing that day, and a case of water all found at the crash site. But not Daniel.
People don't just disappear into thin air.
True.
Does that sort of feel like what's happened here?
Yes. Yeah, it's very, very challenging case.
No matter how much the family asks for this to be a criminal investigation, can you make that happen?
We can't make up evidence. Absolutely suspicious circumstances related to the case.
Frustrated and heartbroken, Robinson hired a private investigator.
Where are we going?
Down here is where the vehicle was recovered from.
Is that the glass from the car?
Yes.
When you looked at this accident, what are the discrepancies that you noticed right away?
I believe it was in more than one collision.
What does the data from the black box of the car tell you?
That there was 11 additional miles on the vehicle since the airbags came out.
What does that tell you?
That tells me it was crashed somewhere else.
Does that sound suspicious? What explains that?
Well, we had the national expert that came in and provided us his findings, and then they ended up speaking to an expert at Jeep, and the expert says, yes, sometimes that happens, and it's not unusual.
But the data also shows someone tried to start the car 46 times after the crash.
That's something we can't explain.
It begs the question, again, the family is saying it's criminal. It's got to be he's in danger. Do something.
Right. No, I agree. But we need information. We need evidence.
He's got a lot of theories. His words, I think, were, I don't think they cared. What do you say to that?
Can be furthest from the truth.
Losing hope, Robinson began pleading for media coverage.
It literally took 3 months.
While Robinson searched for his son, the country became riveted by media coverage of another missing persons case, the case of Gabby Petito.
In my situation, people think I love our children less or something, or they're less important.
In 2020, more than 543,000 missing persons records were filed. More than 480,000 were cleared. And 40% of the missing are people of color.
There are a lot of Gabby Petitos and Natalie Holloways in the Black and brown community.
That's why former police officer Derrica Wilson co-founded Black and Missing Inc. and says too often their cases go untold. Eventually, local stations did stories and citizens began helping search.
Did you know Daniel?
No, I just wanted to help.
You're just helping out a stranger on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Why?
You know what? I can't imagine what that man's going through.
As the search for Daniel goes into its 5th month, another family is in the midst of a terrible mystery for a 5th year. The family of Nikki and Ariana Fitz.
Ariana is very energetic, very happy.
2-year-old Ariana went missing under the most suspicious of circumstances in the San Francisco Bay Area in 2016. Her mother, Nikki Fitz, was found in a shallow grave in San Francisco's McLaren Park, but Ariana was gone.
It breaks my heart that Ariana's not with her mom and Ariana's not with her family, but it also breaks my heart even more is that I know that Nikki wants nothing more than Ariana to be with us, to be home.
Tessa Fitz says she is convinced her niece Ariana was taken by people close to Ariana's mother. San Francisco police searched for weeks, They had some leads, but no arrests. A digitally altered photo was made of what she may look like now.
And she's 8 now. I don't want to see this in a picture. I want to see her face in person.
Should Ariana Fitz be a household name like JonBenet Ramsey?
Absolutely. Why is her case any different from Kaylee Anthony? I can tell you, the color of their skin is the only difference.
For 5 desperate years, the family has continued searching using flyers, social media, and Black and Missing Inc.
Do you think it has anything to do with color?
I try not to put myself in the mindset of the race issue with her media coverage. All I want is for there to be the media coverage for her. I think she deserves that.
The Fitz and the Robinsons want only one thing, with hugging their missing children once again.
Do you think that Ariana is still alive?
I do believe that Ariana is still alive, and it would mean everything to me to know where she is and to find her. I wait for that day every single day. I believe that day will come.
How long will you search?
Till I find my son. I have to. I mean, he's my responsibility.
Sarah Seidner, CNN, Buckeye, Arizona.